Hello, everyone. Today I'm joined by Mr. Martin Ekechukwu, the Chief Strategy Officer at A-Frame Brands. A-Frame is building a portfolio of celebrity-led brands designed to meet the everyday needs of underserved communities. How are you doing today, Martin?
I am well. Thank you for having me, Nate. Really appreciate it.
Not a problem. Thanks for coming through. So first, can you tell us a little bit about your background and what led you to A-Frame?
My background is unfortunately like the most non-traditional circuitous sort of like route to A-Frame. I started off within pharmaceutical sales from years and years and years ago, went to business school, and then post-business school I had the idea that I wanted to be a brand manager. And I spent some time in the brand space, being, like a traditional pathway, right? You start off as an associate brand manager, then a brand manager, a senior brand manager. After a little bit of doing that, I got kind of bored of working and basically getting like the 1% raise and 3% raise every single year. And then just inching up in my career, although I felt I was a lot better than what they thought that I was. So I was like, you know what, let me go improve it. Let me go improve it.
Yep.
So I left the traditional corporate route, went into, actually started, first company was a tea company that I created from scratch. It had national distribution. It was at Walmart and CVS and Target, sold that company, took a break, then came back and started an agency with one of my business partners, dear friends, and all about building stories for brands and helping brands get closer to the audience, leveraging culture, particularly Black culture and pop culture, music culture. Did that for about 10 years, a little under 10 years. Still have the agency, it's still running. We hired a president now runs the company full time. And then I partnered up with Ari Bloom and Hill Harper at A-Frame Brands to kind of get to this space of really building products for underserved and underrepresented communities. So, I kind of started off in this non-traditional pathway, more of a traditional pathway rather, when non-traditional to entrepreneurship. This is back when, I think we might have talked about this a while ago. This is back when Tommy was like, this is Martin, right? Where no one knew really what Tommy did for a living. It's like, I was like the modern day Tommy back then, but no one, everyone's like, what are you doing for a living? It's like, well, I've got this, I got that, I got this, yeah,
A little bit of everything.
a little bit of everything, it's like, and then now everyone's like, oh my God, I'm going to entrepreneurship. So this is like my nice blend in between like entrepreneurship struggle and the pivots and the fast pacedness with being really supported with the foundation and the great team to kind of bring it all together. And I'm having the ability to tell stories by building brands from the ground up that really impact the community. So hopefully that answers your question. It's kind of like a long way to kind of get
No,
here.
it does. It does actually. So digging it a little bit more into what A-Frame does, what services do you offer? What does A-Frame do like specifically, and what services do you offer your clients?
Honestly, our approach has always been, let's look at the problem that we're trying to solve as a company, and what are the problems that actually exist where 150 million people ultimately don't have something that's really meant and created for them. And it's kind of unfortunate if you look at how the country is moving. The browning of America is real. The diversity of America is real. The impact of multiple cultures within the United States is real, but the companies, traditional corporations, are still creating products as though we're 1950, 1960s. That's not necessarily the case. So we said we're going to develop a problem and to solve a problem that ultimately needs to be addressed in the market. So we look at LGBTQ+, we look at Black, Brown, Asian, we look at women, we look at diverse populations, and we look at that problem. And then we go to research and identify whether or not this problem really has a big enough broad sort of approach. Mm-hmm. And then we look at the consumer that we're going after, that we want to really target. And then we go to talent and we ask talent if whether or not they align appropriately with the category and the problem we're trying to solve. And then we go to market. So our entire story as a company is really ensuring that everyone that needs something for them because they're uniquely built and created, they identify a particular way, that there's something for them. And we feel like we're really, barreling down that pathway in a very, very beautiful way and focusing on diversity. We're trying to really do things completely differently right now, where, it's like the traditional pathway of like building the company is like, not us. We're not doing anything traditionally, which is, I'm very proud of what we're doing.
That's interesting. And I guess part of that non-traditional way of building it is starting off with a like the talent that you mentioned that already has maybe like a built-in consumer pool or following that would be likely be interested in supporting whatever product that they are offering. How would you describe, or what would you say is the difference between an influencer and a celebrity?
It's interesting. Like you can be a celebrity, not an influencer and not a celebrity. So I look at those two things quite differently. Celebrity to me has always been someone that has national notoriety within a particular category of entertainment, right? Music, film, or other sort of places that we kind of put upon this person that they're a celebrity as a result of some particular skill set they have. There are a lot of obviously cross sections with our celebrities influenced in the same way. Sure. I look at influencers as those more that have defined the space for themselves, right? They define themselves as being an expert in a particular category, and people believe that they have, justifiably believe that they have a particular point of view that's important that people should be listening to. So while celebrities may not necessarily be influential, we look to them to be able to move the needle. And sometimes they don't, sometimes they do. It just depends. Not every celebrity is an influencer. If you look at some celebrities that have done some particular brand partnerships in the past or product partnerships in the past, it may not necessarily have gone the way they expected it to, right? That's probably because people look to them to be this thing, but the believability on something else may not necessarily be there. While if an influencer, if you have a beauty influencer has been doing beauty in their entire life for the last 5, 10, 15 years in the space of social media, and they launch a beauty product, I'm going to listen to them because they have the thought leadership around beauty, right? Versus a celebrity who's maybe a musician or an actress or whatever, that's never really put forth that they want to be or presenting themselves as a thought leader in a particular category. So it'd be a little bit weird. I think Rihanna is probably the one person that I think has got that ubiquity that can get everyone on board, right? She was an icon for music, icon for beauty, influential in beauty and fashion. And so as a result, when she launched everything, kind of was beautiful sort of like amalgamation of cultural interests all in one place.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Do you think we're going to get any new music from her now that she's a billionaire?
I don't know why I wouldn't put out music. Like, why?
Why?
Why? At this point, it's like, yo, I'm a billionaire. I'm hanging out. I'm unless it's super interesting, I don't think she will. Like, for example, not to go off topic, but if you look at Dr. Dre just dropped this whole Kendrick Lamar joint that's literally taking the entire, I've been bumping in my car that's the only thing I'm playing in my car right now. Only thing I'm playing. And it's Dre produced. I'm like, so Dre came out because Kendrick is a legend. And so the legends are going to bring out a legend. And that happens. So unless, something like that might happen with Rihanna, where there's some legendary producer, but then, Dre produced all of Kendrick's stuff before. So it kind of made sense. But like, I'm expecting if Jay-Z all of a sudden came out and said, yo, let's do a joint album together, I think she would do it.
Yeah, true.
But I don't expect her just to say, you know what, today's a good day to create a new album. I don't think she's going to do it. Like, why?
That's true. That's true.
She should be on a beach in Barbados somewhere, just hanging out.
I mean, she probably is right now, actually. So what would you say are some strategies that you've used to successfully launch some of the partner brands that you have?
That's a really good question. We have Kinlò, which is a Naomi Osaka brand that is a sun care product focusing on melanin-rich skin, because ultimately the problem that we were trying to solve is that people of color, unfortunately, are not using enough sunscreen, and unfortunately, the mortality rate is 3 times greater than people that are not of color. And then Proudly is a baby and bum care brand with Gabrielle and Dwyane Wade, and Loved One is a John Legend brand that I'll be launching shortly. But from our entire process here has been completely unique because we have unique consumers that we're going after, right? Every single target is unique, every single retailer is unique, every single approach is unique. So our approaches make everything as customized as possible. So for example, with Kinlò, we're looking at the travel industry. We're looking at ways to associate the brand with music. We're looking at ways to associate brand with things that are vacation, fun, experiences. Tennis is a very big part of the ethos of the brand as we continue to evolve it, because it hasn't been in the market a very long time, but we feel we have a really good definition of it thus far.
Mm-hmm.
But we're really looking at promoting the product into communities that unfortunately have not been thinking of sun care as part of the daily routine. And we need to. I've been a bald-headed Black man well, not my entire life, I'm a bald-headed Black man since my mid-20s. So I just recently, as a result of working on Kinlò, started putting on a sunscreen on my head because it's the most exposed part of my body.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that approach. So it's like, we've been focusing on education when it comes to Kinlò quite a bit with our dermatologist of color that developed a lot of these product lines, all these product lines actually, and really focusing on ensuring that those that are not thinking about sun care now have it as a consideration. So that's a unique approach there. With Proudly, we're looking at ensuring that moms of color, dads of color, unique and non-traditional families of color have a product that's really made for them from the ground up with products and ingredients that really speak to their skin. And the partnership there has been amazing, and the leadership there, both on the brand side, both on Kinlò and on Proudly, has been absolutely exceptional, and their ability to really tell a unique story when it comes to those brands. And then Kinlò, who's our brand new president on the John Legend brand, we're just starting up and moving in that direction. So every single one is unique, but we're looking at passion. Like, what's the passionate points that we want to kind of talk to?
Yeah.
In tennis, kids of color, fun experiences, family, family and the family dynamic and the unique family dynamic we have in the United States, and ensuring that moms have something for their children and dads too. It's a very unique place to play, and then Legend was still developing it quite a bit. It's yet to launch, so we're still like refining what the messaging is there.
Sure. Have you seen an increase in men's interest in skincare products?
Over the years, yes. I think that as more education is out there, as more of the myths of people of color not caring or caring about their skin starts to get broken down, the more interest is getting into the category. There are a lot of competitive brands out there that are focusing on actually guys. So I think it was Tristan Walker's brand. I can't remember the Bevel. So Bevel obviously was like the initial sort of foray into men's grooming.
Sure.
And it's kind of blossomed ever since then. Kiehl's probably is one that's been in the market for quite a while that kind of focuses on men's care as well. I've even noticed myself over the last 5, 6, 7 years. I mean, more thinking about these wrinkles on my forehead and my eyes. Like, okay, I need to like focus on these things now because I didn't used to do it before. Might be too late at the moment, but it is what it is. It is what it is. But yeah, I think the interest when it comes down to skincare for men has like incredibly blown up over the last several years, just from an educational standpoint. And I think that we're talking about it a lot more. I think we're actually also sharing a lot more. Like, what do you use? What do you use for your head? What do you use for this? What do you use for shaving after you shave? What do you use to soothe your skin? And for those of us that, of color that may get razor bumps or other sort of like things on their face, we have that conversation often. So
yeah. I have a WhatsApp group with a few friends, and I've literally used like a shaving product that worked well for me, and I shared it in the group like, yo, y'all need to use this. All the bald-headed guys in here, grab this right now. No razor bumps for life. You're good to go. And even I also used to think that, okay, I'm Black, I'm not going to get sunburned. I've lived in Nigeria for this amount of time, and look, I've been in the sun, I'm good. Went on vacation one time, no sunscreen, no sunblock. It was the worst experience of my life. I got burnt like I don't even know what. It was horrible. So
no, I think that unfortunately, the myth that exists within the persons of color community remains that we believe that because we're melanated, we're okay, right? And the sun of today is not the sun of 50 years ago, 75 years ago. It certainly is not. Because I remember when I was a kid, I mean, I would never get sunburned because I was an active tennis player for 20 years. So if I'm out there playing tennis, I never put anything on my skin. But today, if I step out on the beach somewhere, about an hour in, I get in the shower later on, I'm like jumping out of the shower because I'm like, my head is burnt. My body, my back is like, what is happening? I'm not used to that. So it's a completely different sort of situation now.
Yeah, yesterday's sun is not today's sun.
Exactly.
Um, and for those with large followings, so let's say that there's an influencer that may want to work with you. I guess the questions are, what is the criteria for working with A-Frame?
Well, I mean, so we have different pathways in. So A-Frame ultimately being the holding company, we provide a shared service of a shared suite of services from operations and marketing and branding and creative services for all the brands. So on our side, what we focus on is ensuring that we have thought leadership to help us sort of like identify the problem and ensuring that we're looking at it the right way, that from a diverse lens, we're approaching it, particularly depending on the category going after, from a diverse lens, that we having a lot of input in, ensure that we're looking at things from a very thoughtful way, and a very mindful way. So influencers that are in the category, I always love to speak with people that are living and breathing in the space so that I can get a very clear point of view. So that I'm always looking for folks that can help speak to me about what we're working on from a broad perspective. Each individual brand has a unique type of influencer criteria they're looking for. So obviously for proudly, you know, moms of color, dads of color, families of color, dynamic families of color, obviously. Same thing with Kinlò. It's going to be folks that are incredibly active, indoor, outdoor. They're looking to show how the product can help protect them outdoors. You know, there is this tinting inside of Kinlò products to allow it to blend in easily, because the white cast is an issue. If you've ever been on sunscreen in the past, no one wants to walk around looking like a ghost. So it's a problem, right? So just as a tint, so it blends in beautifully. So anyone that's indoors, outdoors, active, lifestyle, on the go, beach travel, we're looking for those sorts of folks. And, you know, like I always say, like, you know, you can be influential with 500 people, you can be influential with 50,000 people. It doesn't necessarily matter. It's about whether or not people listen to you when you say do X, right? Yeah. Like, for example, your WhatsApp group, you are obviously influential. Is that you told your WhatsApp group and all of a sudden they probably went off and bought it online immediately. So that right there is what we're looking for, folks that are able to influence others to try new products.
And would you say that you are sector specific? Is it specific to personal grooming, or would you kind of like branch out a little bit, or is that your niche?
So I think that the approach for A-Frame at the moment is in personal care and wellness. Okay. And we're looking to broaden it, right? There are a particular set of capabilities that we have that we know we do exceptionally well in. And right now we've identified personal care and wellness as being the things that we know how to do really well. With our 3 brands within the skincare, personal care space, we can churn those out easily. We know how to operate. We have the manufacturing capabilities. All those capabilities exist right now. As we broaden our lens and look for other things to be able to go after and other problems we're looking to solve, we'll start branching out to other categories. But for now, it's like wellness is kind of like our sweet spot that we really enjoy.
That makes sense. And lastly, do you have any advice for those with a large following that want to launch their own product?
Yeah, of course. I think that if you're looking to launch your own product, identifying something that's unique about it is really what's going to ultimately resonate with your core audience, right? Creating a me too or a just like me sort of like product line isn't necessarily going to be there. There's got to be something that you really ultimately helps you stand out on shelf, help you stand online. And those products have to have a specific problem they're trying to solve. So I think we're all looking for problems all looking for solutions to problems that we have in our daily lives. Yeah. You know, I have an issue when I travel with my son, you know, taking this and taking that and having the bags. Like, I'm looking for, if you tell me there's a solution for this, I'm buying it immediately because that bothers me every single day. Right. So looking at these big problems, and within every category that needs to be solved, where a lot of people ultimately will identify that problem as being unique to them, is the best way to approach things.
No, that makes perfect sense. Hey, Martin, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Absolute pleasure. Thanks, Donnie. Really appreciate it.
Take care.